We want to also talk about an unexpected blessing. I've had an amazing unexpected blessing in my life. I feel so filled with joy and just extraordinary miracle. My unexpected blessing, I've fallen in love.
You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some helping heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance.
A wheel in constant motion.
Thank you, Linda, Andrew, Jonathan, and Matt. Thank you so much. I don't know why we do these things to ourselves, right?
I know why. No, I don't. So, I hope you dance. That's what we teach here, and that's what we hope for every single one of us, is that we dance. that as life brings us things, no matter what they are, that we step onto that dance floor and we dance. And we've been talking all month about living a full and healthy life. And it goes beyond what we put in our mouth, that it's our relationships, it's our work, it's our friends, it's every part of our life to live a holy life, to love in a holy way. And it's about not being able to afraid to dance and to live a life of our dreams. And Ernest Holmes tells us, and I love this quote that I found, life is not just something to be endured. It is to be lived in joy in a fullness without limit. Without limit.
Yeah.
There is no limit to our life. And yet, when unexpected things come up in our lives, it can stir things up. It can stir it up. It can stir it up, and it can actually bring potentially limiting beliefs that we didn't even know we had. And many of you were here a year ago on September 7th when Petra and I shared the platform, and I shared something very personal that was going on in my life. I had just been diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was an unexpected blessing, and it stirred things up in my life that I didn't know that I needed to face. And yet, there are times when really good things happen in our lives as well, and they're unexpected. And they're unexpected blessings, and they too can stir things up that we didn't know. And it helps us to grow spiritually, it helps us to live more holy and to live more fully. And so it's not just challenges that'll do that, and yet we tend to talk more about those.
We tend to talk a lot about our challenges, don't we? We talk about healing our limited beliefs. And if I could just get out from underneath this particular thing, I would feel so much better and my life would work better. We even talk about it with our practitioners. You got something going on in your life, you know something's not working so well, you got a diagnosis, you lost your job, go see a practitioner, have prayer, have spiritual mind treatment, have somebody help you, coach you, what's standing in the way, what limiting beliefs are playing out, and how do we align ourselves with the way Spirit really truly wants to move in, through, and as us. And what is that gift that we want to be in the world? We're really good at that. But you know, our theme this year is keep it real. And so we want to keep it real and really acknowledge how often it is that we get confronted with something really amazing, and it's a little scary, isn't it? And it pulls up just as many limiting beliefs. Can I really do it? Can I really accomplish it? Do I deserve it? Am I good enough? You mean if I'm successful today, I have to be successful again tomorrow? I don't know if I have that kind of energy. I don't know if I really want to do that. And we begin to see and hear the limiting beliefs. And some of those limiting beliefs, they show up as fear and, ways in which we hold ourselves back. So as we want to talk about, Reverend Karen shared her unexpected blessing last year that was a bit of a challenge. I don't mean to minimize that in any way, shape, or form. It was a challenge. And she shared with us her path. We want to also talk about an unexpected blessing. I've had an amazing unexpected blessing in my life. I feel so filled with joy and just extraordinary miracle. My unexpected blessing, I've fallen in love.
Yeah, and actually I'm grateful that I've had an unexpected blessing come up as well, and it's not a challenge. It's not bad news. And I've fallen in love.
Yeah, and it's her.
And it's her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, there's some moments that just bring you to your knees.
Keep breathing.
These are tears of joy. I'm breathing.
So this is what happened for us on a rock at the end of our trip in Sedona. Is we had that moment with each other.
After a wedding.
Oh, after a wedding. Fran and Cheryl, it's all your fault. And we sat on that rock and we confessed that over the last year and a half, the feelings have grown with all the ministry that we've poured our love into and our work into, and looking for houses together and walking through an unexpected blessing that was, a little more challenging, and really had an opportunity to say, wow, this is unexpected. And one of the things that is, So I have personally actually stood on this platform and I've taught that there is no such thing as a soulmate. There's 8 billion people on the planet, really. You can't find one of them to work out with? Really. I'm not sure I've actually ever used the words true love. Really. Till now. Yeah, and it's like, wow!
Yeah, I have to keep on where we're headed. Here we are. So the same, except I actually knew that one of the things that was one of my life's purpose was to find my soulmate. So I actually have been searching all my life. And this past year and a half, being here in this community and doing ministry with Petra and collaborating, and sometimes we'd work 12 hours and I'd go, "What, do you want to go to dinner?" I'm like, "God, I just spent 12 hours with
and
him,
I'd
and
say,
I wanted
yes.
to go to dinner." And we just kept talking, and so when it unfolded in Sedona, it was like, okay, well, we have this 3-week vacation trip planned, so we're finally getting away from CSLDallas. Not that I don't love you all, but to go and experience nature and to see what it's like outside of work. And really, every moment was so priceless. And I know that my search is over, and I found her before I was 50, barely, like barely, just barely. And since I'm now in the prime of my life,
I'm obviously a little slower.
I'm just so, I'm verklempt with happiness.
So we came home, and it's an extraordinary thing to have all these new experiences. Like, I wanted to shout it from the rooftop. I actually thought about just changing my status on the Facebook page and see if anybody noticed, but
I said no. No.
So we, of course, immediately talked to our court counsel chair, Randy Craig, and we talked to the court counsel. And then as meetings unfolded, we had an opportunity to talk with the staff and with the practitioners. And we knew that this Sunday was just felt like a perfect Sunday to bring this forward, because we want to celebrate it with you guys. And just really, it feels like a miracle has happened for me in my life. Yeah. And you know what? Thank you. And it's important that you know these things about your ministers. And And you know, we get up here every Sunday morning and we say things like, yeah, God really, truly wants you to be happy. The very life of the divine wants to express itself as joy and love and contribution and making a difference in the world and lifting things up. And you can have that life. And we want to live that life with you. Because we really believe that if any one of us can do it, we can all do it. Right? When Marianne Williamson says it's not our darkness that frightens us. It's actually our light. That it shines so brightly that it frightens us, and we think that it will frighten others. And it is an extraordinary thing to decide to step out, to say yes to the dance, to whatever the dance is that life is calling you, that Spirit is calling you into your gift, your reason for being on this planet, your love, your eyes, your hands, your heart. You are the love of God made manifest. And to be called into that in the unique way that you do that, right? If any one of us does that, we lift each other and we share in that together. And
Yes.
yes.
And
And must be your turn because
yes, it's good.
it's good.
And so these good things that happen, they do stir up limiting beliefs. And I've shared a little bit from the platform that on October 17th in 2013, I had a very mystical experience at a BART station in Oakland, California. And I knew the power and the presence of love. That's what the part one was for me. That I knew that beyond a shadow of a doubt, how love just is this irresistible sweep and nothing can stand against it. The part two, though, of that, when I got home, is that that mystical experience continued. And the bottom line of that for me was, how in the world am I going to be a minister and stand in front of people and say, because I knew it in that moment, God wants you to have it all, and you can have it. And yet I believed that I couldn't. And there were many areas in my life that weren't working for me. And I had just cast the vision that I wanted to be a minister full-time and thrive while doing it. And yet there were many areas that weren't working. I'm like, so what is it about my false beliefs that I feel that I can't have it all? And that's where I think my journey began. And one of that, and I didn't know it, is one of the limiting beliefs that has been brought up in this moment for me that I did not know that I had is because I come from a corporate background, and even living in the Bay Area, we're talking Berkeley, folks, and it would take me in a medical device startup almost 2 years to come out to my coworkers. I've never fully come out as gay in my life until the first service this morning. Not fully. And only in Dallas, Texas could I come out fully.
As a minister.
As a minister. Yeah, I blew it all the way. Really? Really? I never would have imagined this moment in my life. I had that limiting belief. Like, how could I be a minister, even in the Episcopal Church? And they were pretty liberal, you know? And it's like, how? And it's like, so I've had to work with this in preparing to stand here in this community. And to say, okay, that, you know what? I can be as enthusiastic as I want to be. And because I've had people say, you're too enthusiastic. Will you just tone it down? And it's like, okay, I'll tone it down. And I've had people, you know, like, can I really be me? And can I really be all of me? And can I be that grand and glorious divine me? And so you've helped pull me to this moment so I could be all of me and all that I am.
So one of the things that we know is that pain pushes. Yeah, you know, have you ever felt that moment where you're like poo stuck in the rabbit's doorway, right? And you can't move, you can't go in, you can't go out. You're like, oh no, and I don't want to be stuck here anymore. And the pain of that pushes us to grow. 6 years ago, I began to really confront the fact, actually it was a few years before that, I used to say, I don't do relationships, which is why I don't teach about relationships, I don't talk about relationships, because I'm clueless about relationships. Finally, I had a practitioner say, really, do you want to keep affirming that? Hush your mouth, hush your mouth. Ooh, hoist, caught. Okay, I'm no longer going to say that. I'm going to start affirming that I know how to do healthy relationships. And I actually remember the treatment with my prayer partner 6 years ago when we started on the path. I am in healthy relationships. I do healthy relationships. I know how to do them. And there was a lot of pain associated with relationships that didn't work. And really spending that time to become someone different, to become the answer to that prayer, a healthy relationship. And so we get pushed, our pain pushes us, and I got to look at all my limiting beliefs, all my background. For me, my limiting belief, and I know some of you have heard this story, and I really feel like this could potentially be the last time I tell this story. I feel like I'm scraping the very last molecules of this story out of my life. And I've told this before. I grew up in a household, on the one hand, where things could turn at the drop of a hat. Right? I grew up with an alcoholic, rageaholic father. No matter how beautiful the Christmas Eve was and how perfect everything was, you just never knew. Boom! There it would go. And the rage would flare, and the other shoe would drop, and it would drop really big. And so I've spent a lot of my years, I've learned in this lifetime to always pay attention, when's the other shoe going to drop. Don't trust it. No matter how good of a Christmas Eve you're having, you know that at any moment it can turn. So don't get hooked into it because of the pain of the turn so hard. Yes. And I've worked and worked and worked to understand that Spirit actually has my back. That love and life are moving in, through, and as me, and that, yes, actually, I don't have to attract that in my life anymore, and I don't have to keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that it really can be a beautiful Christmas Eve from beginning to end. That I get to have that we get to have that. And then in my childhood with my sister, she was 2 years older than me, and I was one of those kids. I was just really good at everything I did. It was very annoying, especially to a sister who was 2 years older than me. I was really good when she would go to ballet lessons, and I would be invited to take them. And I was really good at it. And then I would go with her friends, and I would play softball, and I was really good at it. She'd be like, no, she's 2 years younger than me. She can't play. And I would win at games. And then she would be so frustrated that she would throw the board in my face and stop playing. So I learned that if I were too good, that people would stop playing with me. That they would go away. Or that I would be told I couldn't play anymore. And that's been a big part of the pain that has pushed me into this healing, into this extremely powerful place where I get to say, no, actually, I, like you, am a radiant child of God, a being of light. I'm here to give my gift, and I'm here to let my light shine. And that robs nothing from no one, as Ernest Holmes tells us. And that was a lot of pushing that pain did. On the other side of that coin is vision pulls, right? The vision of doing ministry, healthy and thriving. The vision of a healthy lifestyle. Pain pushes until vision pulls. And if you know the story, there's a middle section between pain pushing and vision pulling.
Yeah, go back. Rabbit. So for me, I know that the pain was pushing when I got the diagnosis, that I really had to love myself completely and wholly, and to love me. It wasn't about, can everyone else love me? It was at the moment that, this past year, that's why I've been spending time on loving me, probably for the first real time in my life. And so, and to fully love who I am and not needing to change, that as that pain was pushing so much that it helped illuminate limiting beliefs that I could work with and move through, even up into this very moment. But Rabbit, actually, there's a slide we didn't use that I love. Rabbit actually sometimes just pain pushes and we don't let the vision pull, and so we're sort of stuck in the hole. The pain doesn't push us through and vision doesn't pull. And Rabbit at one point actually puts a picture frame around Pooh's behind, draws a smiley face, builds an altar, and it just takes up space on the wall because Pooh ain't going nowhere, right? But then the vision pulls.
And what's so extraordinary in really working with this, really thinking about this, it has come to me, when we have really amazing things happen for us and we begin to be pulled into that next great thing, whether it is the business that we want to unfold because we know the contribution it makes in the world, whether it's the child that we want to raise, the relationship we want to have, the good work we want to do in the world, as that vision pulls us, as you can see, as we've shared, those limiting beliefs that are left, they get stirred up. And they get stirred up to be dealt with and to be, see, this is the thing I've learned. I'm no longer going to say that when vision pulls, our limiting beliefs get stirred up to be healed. I think that, in fact, what happens, our limiting beliefs get stirred up to be released. Because when we're popped through that and the vision pulls us, there is no place for our limiting beliefs anymore. Yes. And do you see, when we are constantly working on fixing ourselves and improving ourselves and working on ourselves and getting everything better and doing all that stuff, we're sort of in the pain pushes. We're in the pain pushes part of our lives. And we have to do it, and it's important, and it's not bad, but we're kind of here. It's when we actually go for it, when we actually allow that impulse that life is wanting to be as us, when we're willing to go for it and we get pulled through it, do you see, we're like popped out of those limiting beliefs because they cannot come along. Yes. And you see, this is part of the reason why we're here. And this is part of the reason why we have these visions and these desires and these impulses to create and to give and to serve and to love and to do, because it's life being us in its glory and magnificence. And we get to be all of that. And we get to dance as we maybe have never danced before. Imagine dancing with no chains, with no withhold, no what ifs, no if onlys, no, oh my God, what will they think? Where will they, whatever they is, and whoever they is, right? And whatever it is that they're going to do. None of that. Just the pure, unadulterated joy of God as you. And so, we really want to anchor in this moment, not only for us, but for all of us. You see, we've been talking all month about a healthy life, and we've learned that personal physical health is the tip of the iceberg. For us to fully engage and embrace in our lives, every part of our life has to be healthy. And we have to look at those places that aren't working, where the pain is pushing, and heal what's going on there. And we really have to listen to where vision is pulling so that we can embrace that full-orbed, healthy life. Keeping it real has meant to us all year being as authentic as we know how to be. And so I should have had a clue when my favorite poem is hanging as a picture on the wall in Karen's house. I should have gotten a clue back then somewhere. And so we wanted to close with this poem. I think this could potentially be one of the most authentic statements I've ever heard, besides that beautiful song that Linda sang for us. That song is about us personally, each one of us individually, and I think this poem is about us collectively and how we are authentically living our visions, living our dreams, living that life that Spirit wants as us.
So I invite you to take it in. Take it in for your own life, and take it in the way in which we show up and love and support each and every person in this community. The Invitation by Araya Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for a dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear or further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, be realistic, remembering the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know and how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fails. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
So let us pray. So there we have the invitation. The invitation to be wholly and truly and authentically ourselves. And And as we go within, we recognize that this is the invitation that Spirit is always making. Come, trust in me. Know that I've given you all that you need to be all that you came here to be. Trust in your heart and your soul, and know that I have given you everything that is required for you to accomplish your dreams. This is the invitation. This is the quiet, still voice that nudges us, that says, maybe now it's time to make a change. This is the still and quiet voice that says, maybe now is the time to go for that, whatever that is. To allow ourselves to be wholly and authentically the divine, made manifest in our own lives. And to see that in each other. To open our hearts so deeply and profoundly to one another, to all people everywhere, all beings everywhere. And see that every life is the one life. And we are invited to blossom and to bloom just as any beautiful flower in our garden. Let us answer the invitation. Let us answer the call. Let us this morning release the chains that bind us. Let us put aside the limiting beliefs, the old thoughts of the past. Let us stand naked in the light of truth and open in the love of the divine and be ourselves. And let us know that when we stand in that light, we are simply inviting other people's lights to shine as brightly and as beautifully as ours. Together, yeah, that is healing the planet, just as it's lifting our own lives. We allow ourselves to be moved by this, trusting fully in the presence of the one infinite power, the one infinite love, the one infinite life. We simply cast ourselves with wild abandon into it, with perfect trust and faith. We let it be. We know it's already so. Together we say, and so be it.